Good evening, boxing fans, and welcome back. Am I the only one who thinks that because Lomachenko made it look so easy against a formidable foe in Nicholas Walters, that as the years go by, he's not likely to get much credit for this victory, even though he probably deserves it? This is Rummy's Corner. So, the highly anticipated matchup between Vasyl Lomachenko and Nicholas Walters, a lot of high expectations going into this one. The fight itself started off as a tactical battle of the jab. Walters' left jab and Lomachenko's southpaw right jab. And you can notice early on that Walters had the longer arms, and neither one of these guys, it was a feeler out type of round where not a lot happened. But as the round progressed, Lomachenko was the more active guy, and towards the end he started showing that he was a touch more accurate as well. In the second round, both guys started trying to open up a little bit more after throwing their jabs. Lomachenko was still using his jab, Walters was still trying to use his, and Lomachenko was opening up better and still being more active and more accurate. Walters wasn't doing much beyond throwing jabs, and even when he was throwing jabs, he wasn't having a whole lot of success with it. Lomachenko's jab still wasn't always landing flush, but he was still starting to build off of it nonetheless, landing his follow-ups after throwing jabs even when they weren't really landing. By the third round, Lomachenko was clearly doing the better work. He started following his jab effectively with left hands, and he was throwing these left hands upstairs, downstairs, and he was really starting to open things up with the more effective use of his jab. Walters just couldn't seem to find his rhythm. He couldn't get anything going, he couldn't get any kind of groove established, and on the other hand, Lomachenko was looking very comfortable inside the ring. In the fourth round, Lomachenko started to surgically carve Walters up using his superior skill set. Walters really didn't look like he knew what to do inside there. The expression on his face, it was just one of utter confusion, where you can tell he didn't have a read on what Lomachenko was doing, and he certainly had no idea what he was going to do next, and Lomachenko was really starting to showcase his skills. And this continued in the fifth round as he continued dominating the action. This was no longer a timid battle of the jabs like earlier in the fight. At this point, by the fifth round, Lomachenko was doing whatever he wanted in there, and Walters couldn't do anything about it to stop him. A big round for Lomachenko in the fifth. In the sixth round, Walters, to his credit, he tried to change things up a little bit. He started finding a few openings and landed a couple of body shots, but really, he wasn't having any more success despite changing his tune. Lomachenko was in there just still doing his thing. He was effectively unleashing his offense with complete dominance of the range, rendering Walters completely ineffective on offense. And it was just a nice display from Lomachenko. Seventh round, big round for Lomachenko. Walters really didn't look like he wanted to fight. And Lomachenko, he really looked like he was still in first gear, where he was only now beginning to show brief glimpses of his full offensive arsenal. But even in low gear, he was firing on all cylinders, and he was looking magnificent doing so. Prior to the start of the eighth round, Walters informed the referee that he did not want to continue. The fight was over. A lot of fans were disappointed at the way things ended, but the truth of the matter is, Lomachenko was dominating the action the entire way. Walters certainly wasn't in the fight, and he didn't give any indication that he had anything on reserve to change the tides in this one. So it was a tremendous victory for Lomachenko. Where does he go from here? I'm honestly not sure. I think Lomachenko's reaching the point right about now where he's entering Gennady Golovkin territory insofar that he's so good and so dominant that I'm not sure if any worthwhile names in and around his weight class are going to be eager to face him. I mean, we had Max Kellerman and Jim Lampley talking about the prospects of Lomachenko facing Crawford or Pacquiao. Are we really at that point? I mean, I see other fans saying Vargas and Mikey Garcia and a couple of other names, and those would be good fights for sure. The Garcia one I think is particularly interesting. Personally, I would still like to see the Salido rematch. I think it's still relevant. And while I think most people agree that Lomachenko would probably win the rematch, we need to actually see it happen. Otherwise, Lomachenko could go on to have a Hall of Fame career that's on par with something like what Sugar Ray Robinson did, and you'd still have some internet troll 10 years down the road saying he never beat Orlando Salido. So I just think it's something that's important for his legacy. I still personally would like to see that. But the thing about Lomachenko is this. He's improving with each and every fight he has. He seems to get better and better. And it's not just from one fight to the next that he's getting better. He seems to get better and better when you look at all of his individual fights. Within the confines of that single fight, he improves during the course of the fight. The more rounds that go by, the better he seems to perform. And all I know in conclusion is that when we look at Lomachenko, we are really looking at somebody who's both talented and intelligent and maybe something very special in the making. I'm not sure who he's gonna fight next, but I know I'll be tuning in. This is Rummy. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned for more episodes in the future. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to my channel. And if you're already subscribed, as always, thank you very much for your support. Have a good night, everyone.